It began on an ordinary day, when Zoe was exploring near a cozy home at the edge of a quiet neighborhood. Nothing seemed unusual at first. The familiar sounds of the world surrounded them, but Zoe had the feeling that something nearby deserved a closer look. Soft sunlight, moving leaves, and familiar everyday sounds filled the air as Zoe stopped and listened. Before Zoe could decide what to do, the strange object changed. A tiny movement, sound, or flash appeared and then disappeared. Zoe stared at the place where it had happened. Whatever was happening, it was connected to the world around them, so they slowed down. They looked at the ground, the nearby objects, the movement of the air, and the behavior of everything around them. Little details began to form a pattern. Zoe could have guessed at the answer, but instead asked a better question. What evidence could explain what they had just seen? That changed the adventure. Now Zoe was not simply looking for an answer. They were looking for clues. Clues led Zoe and Zimi away from the familiar path and toward a hidden place just beyond the familiar path. As they traveled, the surroundings changed naturally around them. The further they went, the more the original mystery seemed connected to this place. Inside a hidden place just beyond the familiar path, they found another important clue. It was not a random object. It matched something they had noticed earlier. For the first time, Zoe could see that the separate clues belonged to the same story. Zoe initially believed the obstacle meant they had reached the end. Zimi disagreed. Instead of arguing, they each explained what they had noticed. The difference between their observations revealed a possibility neither had considered. The new idea gave them a direction, but reaching the answer would require patience. They had to choose between the quickest path and the safer, more careful one. This time, Zoe remembered what had happened earlier and chose carefully. The test began. Zoe watched one part of the environment while Zimi watched another. They compared the results before deciding what to do next. The evidence was becoming clearer. The first version of the plan failed. Zoe almost felt frustrated, but then noticed something the failure had revealed. The result had eliminated one possibility and strengthened another. Zoe continued carefully, using what they had learned from the previous discovery. The first version of the plan failed. Zoe almost felt frustrated, but then noticed something the failure had revealed. The result had eliminated one possibility and strengthened another. Following that new clue led them deeper into a hidden place just beyond the familiar path. There they discovered the missing connection. The strange clue was connected to something happening nearby. The mystery was no longer a collection of strange events. It was one understandable process. One final test remained. They carefully repeated the important part of their observation, checking each detail before drawing a conclusion. This time, the result matched what they had predicted. Now Zoe could explain what had happened. The answer was not hidden in one dramatic moment. It had been there in the small clues all along, waiting for someone patient enough to notice. Zoe understood something important about creative thinking. Curiosity was not about knowing everything immediately. It was about asking good questions, observing carefully, learning from mistakes, and being willing to change your mind when new evidence appeared. The adventure ended, but the questions did not. As Zoe looked at the familiar world around them, ordinary things seemed a little more interesting. There would always be something new to notice, another question to ask, and another discovery waiting somewhere nearby.